sure your lunch is just settling in, so I'll try and keep you awake. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. When I think about insurance at its core, it is really about trust and stewardship. That is protecting people, communities, and economies from uncertainty. That is what we all do. However, in this increasingly complex world, our industry has fortunately remained a pillar of strength. For it to continue to be relevant, to continue to help individuals and businesses recover and rebuild when they face losses, we all must operate in a responsible manner and adapt quickly. We need to adapt quickly to be able to reach those still outside the safety net. Unfortunately, in the world, there's a lot of people that still don't have access to insurance. And when it's available, it's too expensive for them to be able to afford it. I'm honored to share my views on how Bermuda contributes to bridging these so-called protection gaps that have been talked about this morning. I've worked at the BMA for the last 15 years. And before that, I worked at Big Fours for another 15 years. So really, I have been at the front row seat of the growth and transformation of the market. I'm sure some of you are trying to estimate my age. I like to say I started working at the age of 5. But really, allow me to start with a personal reflection. You see, as Hurricane Melissa was tearing through Jamaica recently, it wasn't just another storm report for me. It was deeply personal. See, my sister-in-law's family lives in the Blue Mountains up in Jamaica. Her grandmother still lives there. And several of my colleagues and staff that report to me had families that were directly impacted. This, for me, was a stark reminder that losses are not just measured in dollars that we are talking about today, but they are really measured in people's dignity, community disruption, and long roads to rebuilding, especially after these events. In many regions, insurance coverage, as I said earlier, is not available, or when it is not affordable. Events like Melissa are happening a lot more frequently. Markets such as Bermuda have the ability, and I would like to say the responsibility, to provide global diversification of risk and capital that would empower local insurers all over the world to extend coverage and resilience to communities that need it. Let's step back and look at the scale of the challenge. I spoke about Melissa. The World Economic Forum estimates that the global retirement savings gap, if it continues in the current trend, will be $400 trillion by the year 2050. That is a staggering number to me. I don't know about you. But the protection gap extends beyond retirement that I'm showing on this chart. It includes underinsurance, not just from natural cuts like Melissa, but also cyber incidents, health shocks, and technological disruption, amongst many others. Now, across advanced economies, we are also witnessing a demographic inversion. By the year 2030, the elderly will outnumber young for the first time in human history. And this raises a very profound question. How will retirees sustain themselves securely and with dignity in a world that is transformed by economic, technological, and environmental upheaval that we are living in today? As these protection gaps widen, insurance industry has an unprecedented opportunity and responsibility to lead through responsible innovation. And this is innovation that should be grounded in sound governance, responsibility, and trust. I think that is what the world is asking for today. The Bermuda story is one of responding to need. It began with a search for effective ways to close capacity gaps in the US. And over decades, Bermuda has developed fairly sophisticated reinsurance and alternative capital solutions that has enabled risk to be shared globally. Reinsurance allows insurers to offer protection where it's needed most. It ensures that when disasters strike, recovery is financed not just by governments and donor funds, but by private capital working for the public good. Today, the Bermuda market writes over $330 billion annual premium dollars, as I've shown on that chart. It's not just the dollars that the Bermuda market writes that is important, but it's also the diversity of business that is conducted here, from traditional property and casualty business to the innovative insurance-linked securities. This diversity strengthens global resilience by spreading risk across geographies, but also across sectors. It enables the insurance systems to absorb shocks, such as Melissa that I spoke about earlier. In the Bermuda long-term life and annuity markets, the focus on longevity and financial risk highlights Bermuda's growing role in addressing retirement challenges that I spoke about earlier. Now, the real measure of a market's purpose lies in how it performs when crises hit. Over the past 9 years that we have been tracking claims paid by our market data, the Bermuda market has paid well over $1.1 billion of claims. You see, last night we had a meeting with the Florida Insurance Commissioner, and we went over, amongst other things, the number of storms that have hit Florida in the recent past, from Michael, Ian, Milton, and Hurricane Helene. A third of the losses that Florida incurred in those storms, or approximately a third, are estimated to have been paid by Bermuda reinsurers. The Bermuda, over the years, has supported recovery over several large cat events. I'm talking about Hurricane Katrina, Rita, and Wilma in 2005, for example. The September 11 terrorist attack. The 2011 Tohoku earthquakes, and the large amount of COVID-19 losses, both on the investment side as well as on the mortality side, all the way to most recently the wildfires, Eaton and Palisades wildfires in California. Now, these numbers are not just statistics. They represent livelihoods that have been restored and communities that have been rebuilt and businesses that have been stabilized. They are proof of action and purpose. Now, what is important is that our market has survived through these events that I have named, some of them fairly large ones. Our market has also gone through the 2008 global financial crisis, and its resilience has been tested through those events. All sectors of our market have endured these major global stresses. Over the past decade, the Bermuda insurers have maintained a fairly robust capital and surplus growth. The chart that I'm presenting here shows that growth in the market over the last 10 years. Now, that growth is not just financial discipline, but it is also guidance to how prudently risk has been managed in the Bermuda jurisdiction. It is a culture of responsibility, that in spite of all these major stresses, capital has continued to come to Bermuda and our markets. Our companies' balance sheets have continued to grow, and the capital and surplus has been sustainable. This really demonstrates that the innovation that is happening in Bermuda is sustainable and not speculative. See, I would like to mention that in spite of the resilience that is our market, there's a need for regular, rigorous stress testing, and that stress testing underpins the confidence that we as regulators, as well as the markets that we serve, underpin. Each year, the BMA conducts comprehensive stress tests to assess our market's ability to meet policyholders' obligations. The latest that we did in this year is a global financial crisis stress test that was calibrated on the IIS standards. This stress test demonstrates a substantial resilience in our market. It was focused on our life and annuity markets. Under conditions that are comparable to the 2008 global financial crisis, most firms maintained capital levels well above the regulatory requirements. In fact, the enhanced capital requirements on a median basis declined from 270% to 215%, which is a remarkable outcome in a severe stress situation. This level of resilience is no accident. It reflects a market that is built on risk awareness, strong governance, and disciplined oversight. You see, innovation has long been a defining strength of the Bermuda market. But innovation is only sustainable when it is anchored in risk management and corporate governance. Bermuda approach has been one of balance, encouraging creativity while ensuring that frameworks evolve in step with market developments. Whether through insurance-linked securities or asset-intensive reinsurance or AI-driven underwriting that is coming our way, Bermuda demonstrates that innovation and prudence can be complementary forces. The ILS market, for instance, has opened efficient channels for capital markets to participate in insurance risk. This has expanded the industry's ability to protect more people and businesses. The BMA will soon be consulting on a new framework for parametric insurance, enhancing rapid response to disaster events. In the life and annuity sector, our supervisory approach has evolved along the market. We have made some enhancements, including ensuring that we have a robust regulatory framework that has responded to the evolution of that market. We've strengthened supervision of investments as well as liquidity risk. Our scenario-based approach to reserving that recognizes we've ensured that we have a scenario-based approach to reserving that recognizes sophistication of cash flow modeling as well as appropriate oversight of those models. And we have enhanced our cross-border collaboration on complex transactions. We've also ensured that we have public disclosure that promotes transparency while protecting companies' proprietary approaches. This balance between innovation and prudence does not happen by accident. It requires continuous attention from boards and management and regulators alike. As the markets evolve, strong governance remains the foundation of confidence. There are areas that I'm sharing here that illustrate exemplary practices across leading Bermuda groups that I think are important to enhance that sort of governance and risk management. The first one I would want to touch on is stress testing as strategy. We are seeing more firms using stress tests stress test not just as a compliance exercise, but as a tool for strategic decision making. Firms are incorporating emerging risks as well as correlations to strengthen resilience. When it comes to conflict management, high-performing boards of directors identify potential conflicts early. They manage them with transparency and create a culture of accountability around conflict management. This is especially vital in today's interconnected market. We are also seeing groups manage innovation in a way that has proper governance. Successful companies set clear risk appetites. They set clear risk appetites for new ventures, new lines of business, and they ensure board-level oversight and balance that ensures that there's a balance for opportunity and prudence. Together, these practices embody a spirit of innovation and creativity with conscience, with a conscious level of prudence. In closing, as risks grow more interconnected, this is from retirements and savings, cyber threats, climate risks, to AI-driven disruption that so many have talked about this morning, we face a collective challenge to govern complexity with clarity. Responsible innovation must be central to how we close protection gaps. Regulators and industry alike must recognize that governance is not static. It is a living system of accountability, dialogue, and learning. And this is why at the BMA, we will continue to champion cross-border collaboration, transparency, and continuous improvement, ensuring that innovation does not outpace oversight. See, the risks that our society faces are profound, but so too is the capacity for everyone in this room for leadership and solutions. If we uphold governance, accountability, and purposeful innovation, we do more than protect balance sheets. We safeguard societies. See, when governance is strong and accountability is visible, trust grows. And as I said earlier, insurance is all about trust and stewardship. When trust grows, our industry fulfills its highest purpose, and that is turning uncertainty into security. Thank you very much for your attention. I don't know if I have any time. I finished within my 15 minutes, but I will steal 2 minutes for a quick question.